darkness falls across.
Who did you talk to? What's going on? It's me, Mike Leopard King. My girls is into Legit Darkness with Reeni Rodriguez. Reeni, you can do the introductions. This is your show.
Okay, so tonight we are gonna do Chris.
Benoit.
There you go. I practiced it like all day, and like for some apparent reason, it's like not rolling off my tongue the way that I wanted it.
Did you want to say Benoit?
No, I just.
What do you want to say?
I don't know. It was there, and then it wasn't there.
Okay. Benoit. Yeah. Benoit. Yeah. First of all, how was your night?
That's fine.
Good. Now, what do you know about Chris Benoit in general?
Okay, so I had to look this up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
I do know that he was a wrestler, but I didn't really understand like the WWE part of it or the other part of it. Like I didn't really understand that whole thing. But I do know that he like killed his family and then committed suicide.
All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So first off, wrestling. Chris Benoit. Here's the guy that he portrayed. He was like this really muscular but short armed guy. His arms are oddly short length. If you go back and look, he's got short arms. I don't even know if they come back past his waist. It's weird looking. He had a tooth missing. That fit his persona. He went by the Rabid Wolverine, and he was basically like this smaller guy that would get into fights with anybody. And one of his finishing moves was the flying or diving headbutt, which he would take some of those on the head legitimately. So his finishing move was to jump off the top ropes and pretend like he's banging his skull on another guy's head. So the level of mistakes there every night, even just if you hit the mat, bouncing his head.
Right. But you would get a concussion from that, like constant.
Yeah, you would. And I think that those minor headaches, what they call minor headaches, the concussions, were passed over with just like you drink it down and you just go on to the next thing and you move. Because you can't lose your spot in wrestling. That's like a big deal. You can't be pulled out. Well, because if like you're like the big wrestler right now, and then you get hurt and you're out for a couple months, you don't have the same momentum. You lose it. So they need to keep that person. If you're a wrestler, you want to stay in the whole thing the whole time because you build that way. That's how it works. It's live shows, live events. You need to be in now, right? The storyline is now.
But isn't that like a whole storyline that they actually put together? Like, don't they practice that? So, like, if you're practicing that, why they don't practice that?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. People assume that they practice the matches. That's not really accurate. Like, in other words, if me and you were wrestlers, we would know a set of moves. And one of us would call the action, right? There's basic rules. Like if I'm going to throw a fake punch at you, it's always going to be to the right side. So you know which way to, or it's to your left. You always can move to your right. Like in other words, they will never throw it to that side because they're trained to, you move your head this way and the guy always throws it to that side. Your right, my right. Like I throw my right, you move to your right.
But what I'm talking about is like the whole storyline. Like, you know how like they come out and like supposedly they're like shaving each other's heads, or maybe that was like some girl that I watched or whatever. Because I watched this whole
Well,
thing.
that was the CM Punk thing for Punk's the Straight Edge Society. They shaved that girl's head. Okay. She
Okay,
became a famous wrestler too.
yeah, but I mean, wouldn't that? I don't know. I just
Right.
feel like when they were coming out and I was watching this, just didn't make sense.
Okay, I will make sense to you. So they're constantly trying to figure out storylines, right? It's like a soap opera. They're trying to and they'll move people into what's called feuds or working a program. So if me and you were fighting, we'd be working a program, and we would know what to do, like where we're going to take this. Is it going to be like we're going to try to carry this on for 2 weeks? What's our goal? 3 weeks? We're going to try to take it to a pay-per-view. How big is this? Like, and they just kind of do that. So you kind of get put into a program with like another wrestler, and you feud with him for a while, and there's certain things you do. But there's certain guys that when they're in the ring, they call all the moves because their seniority dictates that, and you kind of listen to them. Now, Benoit was one of those guys who got to call a lot of the moves. But if you listen to him, people tell stories of his final matches, he wasn't calling all the moves. Like he was, there's just so much of people that were noticing him check out in very obvious but not obvious ways. Like if you know the guy and this is what he's a stickler for, and suddenly he's not doing it, to me, that's always like one of the biggest warning signs that like people maybe they gloss over. But like when someone does something that's so out of character, especially when it's small, you're like, something wrong there. So, all right.
But I did hear that he was like paranoid, like for X amount of time.
All right. So, all right. So there's part of the head injuries with him. Okay. That's an issue. That's one. Right.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, like, from what I'm understanding, like his matches or whatever, I don't know what technically is that what you call them matches.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, he was a little paranoid, but I heard that he was also a little mean.
It was definitely mean.
Hard on himself.
All right, so, he was great friends with Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was a famous wrestler. The Guerrero family is a famous wrestling family. He was Latino Heat. That's what he used to say. He was Latino Heat. They had one of my favorite intro songs. It was, it's like lie, cheat, steal, something like that. It was funny to me. Anyways, that was like one of his best friends, and Eddie died. And if you ever seen the interview with Benoit, on the special episode that after Eddie Guerrero died, he's crying uncontrollably. Now, Chavo Guerrero, younger than them, commented on the change in Chris when his uncle Eddie died. Other people commented on it. He wrote in his journal to Eddie. So those journals that they found were written to Eddie. So when Eddie Guerrero died, that was hit the sand on the sand dial. Like it's on, because that's when in other words, so picture a guy who gets a lot of concussions that it doesn't trust really anybody else in the industry, because he's more of like a blue collar guy that really doesn't have like a lot of pizzazz to him. There's nothing about him that was like bright or colorful or anything like that. He was just like a no nonsense guy. So is Eddie in a way, but he did Latino Heat. Anyways, when you lose your mentor like that, or best friend on the road like that, for someone like him, you can see where his path of insanity started. I don't understand how he got there. No one ever will, but you can see where it started. And for me, it was, I want to put the injuries. I want to put the Eddie Guerrero death. And what about the fact that they were having marital problems?
Yeah, about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my thing is if he's like destroying your house, okay, because as she claimed that he was like just destroying this house, right? She's getting an order of protection, and then it's all kosher again. Well, that doesn't make any sense. If he's destroying your house, and
but
he's a crazy person.
They're both professional wrestlers.
Well, and I understand that, but I don't think she was destroying the house.
No, I'm just saying the lifestyle of them. Like, why would they go through all that and then just come back to point one? Because they're, I don't know. I don't know why anybody would do that. But like I know with him and her, it was she'd filed that, and I guess that's was like a big topic of conversation that she was gonna she wanted to I guess leave. I mean, he had to be acting erratic after once Eddie Guerrero died. The whole thing on his life changed, man. He had to be.
But I understand that, and I completely understand that. But I do know that he was on supposedly antidepressants, right? Now, here's where the other issue lied. Okay, and this is just me, just being me, because I was thinking about this earlier. So, in this whole scripted thing where his wife Nancy supposedly was with, I can't remember his name. Was it like Sullivan?
Lex Luger.
There you go. Whatever. So they wrote this whole script about like his, her cheating on him, blah blah blah, and the next thing you know, they're having like him and her and Chris are like having this affair, right? And it's like, well, who could have? I mean, come on, anybody could have predicted that one. But what I'm saying is, how do you know that he wasn't having an affair? And she got all ticked off.
So she used to go by the name Woman in the WCW.
You know what I mean?
She was the.
I heard that.
Can you hear me? She
But I
was
thought
the
she
valet.
the
valet for Kevin Sullivan. She was dating Kevin Sullivan, or married to him at the time. When she started an angle, they started to do a program where she left Kevin Sullivan for Benoit, and in reality, she left Kevin Sullivan for Benoit. That's how they got together.
Right, and I understand that, but it was all scripted at first.
But
why would you even script that?
Because he didn't expect them to take it for real. You know what I mean?
I get that.
He wasn't thinking, I'll just put my wife on the road with this guy. They'll be all right.
Okay.
But I mean, that's what he's thinking. Like, that's his thoughts. And then, like, because I've actually watched like Kevin Sullivan talk about the whole situation, because everybody wanted to go talk to him first. He was married to her. The whole thing happened, and he was just like, it's my own fault in that sense. Like, I don't know. I put them together, and then they became this like. Look, they were something born from like passion. So he didn't see her all that much. I get a weird feeling sometimes with some of these wrestling guys that it's like a honeymoon every time they come home, because you don't see them but a month a year, tops 20 days. Some guys work 300 some odd days a year. You know what I mean? So now if you're on the road with that guy,
just going to like these wrestling events is what you're saying. So basically they're just doing this back to back to back to back.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, they do house shows, and then they do like, so for like the WWE, they split up the roster, but they have like 3 shows or 3 or 4 nights of shows. Every now and then they have a pay-per-view, and then they do house shows. Like, they'll come to like, the local center, civic center, and they'll wrestle, do a whole match. And they usually do like tag team matches to keep people from getting hurt, but that's another story. But Chris Benoit worked his way up the WCW ladder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when he came to the WWE, he was small. They considered him small. So he went right down the ladder. So he had to work and work and work, and he got respectability and credibility because of how hard he freaking worked in the ring. Like, he's another guy who was not afraid to get hit, hit someone, do something crazy. So, like, I know this sounds wrong, but when you talk about guys that could have went, and you think back on who are all the guys that take the most vicious bumps. A bump is the term for when you land, fall, get hit. And some of these guys, like when you look at the guys like him, the fact that his head was the finishing move, the fact that I would get up on 6 feet of ropes, stand there like this, my arms out, and then jump, and with my forehead smash yours, is an insanity. It's just, to me, I don't know how that one hurt the person dropping on. I didn't know why it only hurt the person get hit. It was like 2 melons getting smashed together. It didn't make sense to me. I figured both people would be knocked unconscious. But no, it never happened.
I'm just not a wrestling fan. I guess like something about like some dude doing like this dive on another dude, and then he ends up with a concussion. Like, just it's a really bad idea.
Oh, I mean, if it's done, if it's done correctly, then you don't get situations like that. It's just that, like, I've always been my theory's always been like your finishing move shouldn't be just so dangerous. Like, for example, there's a move in Japan they use, New Japan Wrestling, where they drop you on this part of your neck, like right below your neck where your shoulders first start. Like, you have to crane your neck up perfectly so that part of your body would hit when they dropped you. So now, right away, that I wouldn't do. That's crazy, right? They stopped doing pile drivers. You had to remember that as a kid, right? When someone would pick you up, put your head between their knees, and then drop to the knees and slam your head on the ground. Oh boy, we used to do that to everybody. Yeah, pile drivers. But those are dangerous. Those broke Stone Cold's neck.
I mean, I'm just not the dangerous type of person.
That's not true.
That is
You mean
true.
wrestling?
No,
Okay.
just like at all, period. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't go out and find danger or
You're not like a bungee jumper.
No,
You're not a bungee. No. I would never bungee jump myself. I see bungee jumping's different though, because you only win by not dying, and I don't want to play if those are the rules. It's true. Like, it's gonna be something better I win than that. Oh, I get to stay alive. You know. So
I wouldn't even go zip lining. I'd be like, no,
I've done that. I did that.
Not doing it.
It's not as much fun as it looks. It's not, because they don't tell you about how hard the strap is.
Okay.
No, I'm being serious for everybody. You're like, Jesus. And it's like, zoom. Before you can complain, you're just going through trees. So wait, now, all right. So leading up to this, we keep talking about leading up to what he did. So now he's seen by everybody in the locker room as like a stand-up guy. That's what surprised, shocked, horrified everybody in wrestling so much, because this came from a guy that they were like, what? Like, who? Like, no. Like, no one believed it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm having a hard time believing it. Not gonna lie.
The case gets weird as we get into it. No, it gets weird as you get into it, because it seems so like, look, it was either so horrifically, perfectly, masterfully planned and executed. I don't mean that in a good way. I just mean like he did it. Again, we'll talk about the body. Like, it was thought out. It was over a couple of days, right?
It was over a couple of days. I do know that. And that's where I'm having a really, this is odd.
Because he would have to stay drunk that whole time. I said that to someone before.
I don't know if he was technically drunk. That I do not know. The only thing they found in his system was what he had, like 3 or 4 times the amount of testosterone. 10 times more. That's what I thought.
Yeah, something crazy like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Here's where I'm having the issue.
Good.
So in the span of like 3 days on his, what I would say, it's not even really, I mean, I guess you could call it a killing spree. He killed his wife. He killed his 7-year-old, right?
He waited to kill the 7-year-old.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you kill your wife, right, and he's like tying her up, doing this supposed wrestling move on her, right, like, you know, choking her, whatever.
The crossface crippler, it's called, and it would crack. It's an awful move if really done correctly.
Okay, well, anyways, I don't know anything about that move. It's
basically a guy with gigantic arms squeezing your neck and just crushing you, like crushing the breath out of you completely. Like, you know, you can see why if he did that to them, there would be not much of a struggle. Like, if a big guy gets you around the throat from behind, starts choking you down, you might not have much of a struggle if it's a quick, you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, like there was blood from her head and there was like stuff found in the trash can anyways.
All right, let's go over the date of the crime. So the day of the crime was like I want to say it's like a Saturday. Wasn't it over a weekend?
I thought it was over a weekend. I thought it was like a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday thing.
That's honestly what I thought it was too. I think it was like over because, all right, the weird things like check the dogs are in the back was a text message he sent to Chavo.
Right. But then why would you send your address to somebody? Like it's your friend, why wouldn't your friend know where you lived? Like what do you need the address for? What do you need? I mean, I know that he was supposed to be picked up at the airport or something like that.
Yeah. See, I can't think of anything he wrote and say, well, why did he write this? Because he just killed his wife and kid. So if he gets a little too dramatic and exaggerates and gives me the full address, I'll chalk that up to the fact that he's in some sort of insanity mode where he's killing people. So
Okay.
I'll let that go.
I mean, I can't let that go.
Why? Because it's an actual clue, detail.
Well, that's kind of what I feel like. Like if I were to, murder, my family, which I'm not going to,
No.
and I sent one of my friends my address, telling them where my dog is, they're gonna come right over and ask me what's going on. Obviously, like what do I need an address for? I know exactly where you live. I don't need directions there. I don't need your address.
Okay, but you just said the reason then.
I know, but I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense.
No, you just made it make sense. But you just made it make sense. You just said what you would do if you did that to somebody. You just said they'd come right over.
They would. So why wouldn't you come right over? But
that's what he wanted. He wrote the address so they'd come right over.
Of it, if I used like the other person's cell but why would he send the exact same message from his wife's phone, knowing that he already killed her? And then it's like, okay, my dogs are back here, and then here's the address. That doesn't make sense. Why do you have to send 20 messages to all these people? Not 20. I'm just exaggerating.
Maybe nobody was responding.
If you have close friends, they should be responding.
But if you just murdered your family, you're probably not. You don't have much patience. I'm thinking. So you're like, you better text me back.
I mean,
no.
I guess. I mean, I would just assume that they would come over and check on what was going on.
That's why he wrote the address. You're right.
But if they're your friends, they should already have your address.
I know, but if you write the address, you just said it would freak them out more and make them come right over.
I know, but you could have sent a different text message, and then maybe they would hey, I need help. Come over right now.
All right. So what is the official story of what exactly transpired if you had to go by the timeline? Because I want to hear what you have for a timeline for this of what happened.
Okay, so what I was understanding, and I just kind of, and I did assume that maybe it was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing, right? That's kind of what I understood. It didn't really give, maybe I missed a detail here or there.
Probably.
Okay, so then on Saturday, I don't know if it was in the morning, maybe the afternoon, I don't know. Now his wife's laying upstairs dead, right? So his son, he gives him some, what was it, Xanax? High dose of Xanax.
Did they find that in the kid, or they're not allowed to? How do they know that about the kid? They always keep saying that he gave the kid Xanax to make him pass out in his sleep so he could choke him out like that. Did they find that in the kid?
That's what they were saying, that they found that in his system. Okay. But my thing is, okay, let's say that he didn't murder that kid right away in the morning. All right. Let's say that he kind of went about his day, maybe fed him some breakfast. Isn't that child going to say, hey, where's my mom?
Or Dad, why do you have blood on you and you're sweating profusely and
but
you're
maybe he
tongues?
Taken a shower before that. You don't technically know. I mean, I wasn't there.
He could have went for a jog. We don't know, but I'm telling you that I don't think he was in the right frame of mind to get in. Like I don't think he was thinking about breakfast.
No, but if you're going to feed your child in the morning, if your child's going to get up, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to drug him first.
I think he gave him a drink first on an empty stomach, and that's how he made him pass out.
Possibility. Maybe it was in a cereal. I don't know.
Okay, I don't think he put it in the. How do you put Xanax in a cereal? It would never work.
Like a kid.
You'd have to put a lot of them in, and you'd have to pretend it's like Lucky Charms. Like, oh, what's this part? No, it's that's new. That's new.
We don't technically know that he didn't put it in Lucky Charms, but you could be right. Probably just put it in a drink. So, anyways, from what I'm understanding, he just suffocated him. Was it suffocation?
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
So Saturday night.
We'll say that from what I'm understanding, he took it out.
All right. Wait a minute. Friday night, he kills the wife. How do they claim he killed her?
I know I don't know. He just like from what I'm understanding, it was like that whole wrestling move, and then she hit her head. She had like what Oxycontin in her system. They found alcohol in her system, but that alcohol can stay in your system for a while. So I mean,
All right.
check.
So I won't name the
You know.
wrestler, but here's the thing he said that I thought was very interesting. He said, "What if they both had all that stuff in their systems? What if they actually did play fight, wrestle? And what if he did do that to her accidentally and killed her? What would he do after that? What emotional state would he be in? Like, in other words, knowing he just took this kid's mom from her, he's going to go to jail for it. Like, do you think any of it could have been accidental and then spun into this, like, when someone just keeps digging the hole deeper to try to fix something, they make it just all go to hell worse. Like, they just throw in the towel. Like, can that be an answer, or does it have to be that he killed everybody on purpose? Like, that's what that one piece doesn't make sense for me. So I'm trying to figure it out.
But what happens if he didn't kill them? And maybe he found them.
Mm-mm.
Why?
Mm-mm.
Why? I mean, it's why? What? Why?
That would not make him hang himself.
It could.
No.
How? Why would you say that? It could.
Because he'd have at least a little bit of revenge and anger in him that he would immediately have. That would respond. It would make him want to find who did this first. Whereas he did it, already found them. He can't live with himself for doing this. Here's where I go.
I don't know. I have another theory.
Okay, good.
Maybe somebody else came in and did it.
What, killed his wife and kid?
And then him, maybe he was
No.
in some trouble. Okay, well, I just have a whole theory on that. So then on top of it, then because of course I was looking this stuff up. I was more interested in the murders than him actually wrestling. I'll be the first one to admit
fine.
that.
Good. Explain what you explain.
But what I'm trying to get at is if he was in some deep crap, right? Maybe somebody came in and just took out the whole family. Okay, but in what was it, like 12 hours before they even found these bodies, right? There was like something on Wikipedia, which nobody should take that seriously, anyways. But that had information about the fact that these guys were dead. How much sense does that make?
I would. I don't. I don't buy Wikipedia. Like,
well, I don't either, but I'm just saying. So what you're saying, what we're trying to get at here,
why would you kill somebody but put it on Wikipedia first?
Okay, first off, let's just be
World's
honest.
worst criminals are we doing? Before I kill these people, I'm going to put it on Wikipedia that they're dead. Well, and that I did it. You know what I mean? Like, well, that's stupid.
No, not technically. Let's face facts. If you're going to kill somebody, right? Yep. Most likely you're either going to tell somebody because you can't keep your mouth shut. Maybe you were drinking and you just couldn't keep your mouth shut, right? Or maybe it was just eating at you. You just never know. But I'm just saying that they did trace that IP address to some like teenage kid or something like that. So, but how random is that though? Honestly, it's random.
It is random, but like the way that they were killed. In other words, hitmen, they wouldn't hang around for a couple of days.
I'm not saying that they were like hanging around for a couple of days.
No. The hitmen would those people were killed. Didn't they figure out that they were all killed different days?
Well, yeah, that's a whole That
what do you get? Hitmen sitting in the living room? They're like, we'll do the kid next, and then we'll do the big guy last. Why? Well, I saved the best for last. I don't know. I don't know.
That is a possibility.
No, I don't know about that.
Why?
I don't know. They wouldn't hang around. You don't hang around.
Okay, but what you're saying is he was that out of it that he's going to kill his wife and his poor innocent child and then say, oh, crap, look what I did. So now I'm going to hang myself with some equipment.
Talking about seeing Eddie in his diaries.
Right, but I thought they didn't release all of those diary entries.
Oh, people talked about, man, he would talk to Eddie. the rumor was he kept calling Eddie's phone and leaving voicemails. The rumor was like the things that people have said about him. Like trust me, everyone around him would say flat out he could not deal with that loss, and everything just got going downhill. Whether he had something going on, because they did do a scan on his head, and his brain had CTE.
Yep.
So it's like he was already, whacked around so much. His wife wants to leave him. He's on a ton of steroids to stay, not just in shape, but it helps with endurance and recovery of injuries. That's why a lot of athletes do HGH or steroids. It's not to get bigger. It's so they can play longer. So he's doing all this. He's drinking. He's mourning. When people mourn and they get into a really bad spot. I have a friend. He lost his parents recently. I was like, I talked to my other friend. We set the dogs loose. I said to one of my friends, like, how's so-and-so? And he's like, oh, he was feeling dizzy. He pulled his car over when he got off the highway, got out of the car, and next thing he knew, he's in the hospital. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, they found him laying down in the street. I'm like, what? So this kid was mourning, and he just stopped eating and wasn't taking care of himself. And the body just starts to get like this place. Now, picture you're this gigantic, muscular guy on steroids. I don't sound like a dog. And you add to this the loss of that, and you start feeling like you want to die to begin with. I honestly, I know this sounds weird. I don't think he planned to kill the kid. I think the kid was a bad decision made after he decided to or didn't decide to kill the wife. Like, I just think he was in that. Man, guys in general, they don't know how to get themselves out of stuff. You should know this. We just keep getting worse. So if he murdered his wife and he was already suicidal and the world can end, he must be thinking, I just took the mother from this kid. He's not gonna have a dad. Because look, I can't tell you what he's thinking because that's ridiculous they did it in the first place. But I'm saying if you're going to go through all this and start killing your whole family, what is your reasoning? You have to have some sort of line of reasoning. And I only think I can think of with the kid is that I killed his mom. He's not going to have his mom anymore. I don't know how that makes sense. But then again, this whole thing doesn't make sense. So maybe that's what he was thinking. Like, seriously, I can't see him going. Like, I can't see him going Friday night. This is the weekend. I kill them both.
I don't think it was like this planned thing. It's like, oh, well, it's Friday, so I have nothing better to do.
But that's what I mean. It wasn't planned, but it wasn't even like on Friday. He was like, you know what? This is the weekend I'm going to do it. Like, I don't even think it was that.
But they also did say with all those concussions that he did have, honestly, he had it causes dementia. So maybe he didn't even realize at the end of the day that he killed his wife until like the next morning. And
then woke up, freaked out, started drinking again or whatever, thought the world was going to end, and then killed the kid. See, it's like...
Okay. God.
You know what I'm just saying? It's just like he killed her. I don't think he slept. You think he went to bed?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so then now he's up all night, day and night. It's getting worse. You sure he wasn't drinking? He had to be drinking. They found bottles everywhere. Liquor bottles everywhere, I heard.
Well, I didn't hear that. So, and it's a good possibility. So what you're saying is he could have just gotten drunk and didn't know what he was doing. Just kind of like blacked out.
Got blind drunk. And have you never seen someone that you don't know people that they can get so drunk that it's like they're not them? And then add the CTE to it, and then add the loss of somebody, and add them once you're not in reality, it's a danger. And what type of person is that person? Well, he's very dangerous. You know what I mean? Like that's not the type of guy you want in that spot. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's me. What would happen? I can't. I know it's the type of guy that he is.
I know, but like, why
do that is like that's a snap. That's what's called a snap. Like when it's just all goes to shit.
But why your kid? I mean, not that you should be killing your wife or anything like that, or your husband or anything like that. But why your kid?
Listen. Killing your wife. I don't want to say I understand but I get, because I've seen relationships. Some relationships are very like, I always wonder, like, my God, she must hit him. I've thought that to myself just by seeing people with each other. You go, oh, I bet she hits him. You could tell there's just nah. Or, the other way around is no good either. And you can see that coming a mile away. But your kid, like, I like my theory of guilt only because guilt in total irrationality, only because he killed the wife first. And then the next day.
Okay, but let's face facts. If he killed that kid first.
He didn't let the kid wait. He didn't wake the kid to let him sleep. Weird.
Okay, but
I mean, get rid of him, go to his room. No, I'm being serious. Middle of the night.
But they found a knife underneath that kid's bed.
All right, so let's talk about the kid really quick. So have you ever seen the kid?
I have, and I'm not sure exactly what was wrong with that child, if there was anything wrong with him at all. But I know that there was arguments about if I'm understanding the treatment for him. He
was like small, I guess. His head was. Everything was like it was one of those situations where it didn't look right, but you can't just put a finger on exactly what you think is wrong without being mean. Like, I was like, I don't know, something must be. And you're like, why? He didn't look right. Something about him that was, and now there was something wrong with him, because that was like he felt bad about that. Benoit, he would told Eddie that he feels like he did that to that kid.
But how you do that to your child? It's just the way that it is.
Hey, hold on a second. Hey, can I have you not bark, please? All right. So why would you do that? Why would you think you
what I'm saying is, like, I know that there was arguments about, from what I'm understanding, treatment for that child.
But I'm going to tell you why he felt guilty about that child having that problem to begin with. They always said steroids, this, that, the other, is going to be lead to birth defects. That was always supposedly one of the side effects. All those drugs and whatnot that he did in his system when he had a kid, in his belief, affected the kid.
But is there any scientific proof behind that?
You don't need scientific proof to
I'm just asking.
No, but I don't think there is. But my point is, to be a wrestler that has the brain of like a 90-year-old that's like losing it, they think things we don't, apparently.
Well, because we don't have a bunch of brain injuries either.
We don't go choking people room to room.
No, but that's what I don't understand. Like, this kid eventually has to get up. Like, he's got to hear his mom struggle of some sort. How? When did he put the Xanax in? It's like that they like left that whole part out. Like, I want to know about the Xanax. Like, how did that child get that much Xanax to like put him out?
I don't. Yeah, that's the.
I mean, like, they don't give kids like Xanax like that.
It'd have to be like in a. Like, see, it'd have to be like a drink, a Kool-Aid drink, something like that.
But that would dissolve. I mean, wouldn't you taste that?
Would the kid know?
It depends on how often that child drinks that drink.
But if that kid's a little
I see what you're saying.
You can slip that by the kid. Like, I'm just saying, like if the kid was initially, like, if this was initially planned to be a double murder suicide, which I don't believe it was. I think it turned into that. I think it got so ugly and so bad that it turned into that. It became that. It just, like, I think we dealt with depression, we dealt with head injuries, we dealt with drugs, we dealt with steroids, booze, marital issues, pressure from the industry, loss of a friend, like all that all balled up into one after a night of really drinking, maybe heavy drugs. You end up killing the wife. He probably spent the night in complete disbelief that he did it, trying to figure out, what do I do next? See, that's in my head where you go from there. And that's a bad spot to be. Where do I go next in that state of mind? Okay. So that's why it's weird that the morning came. Did he sober up? He didn't sober up. He keep drinking. Like,
but my thing is like, where did you sent out text messages about these dogs, right? Like you were so concerned about dogs. Okay, that'd be the last thing on my mind is my dogs.
Well, he was more worried about people coming in and getting bit by the dogs, so he told them where they were, which makes no
know.
sense either.
But when he was trying to make all these phone calls about like, hey, and this one lady's like, oh yeah, I've dealt with these dogs before. It's all right. Well, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, just leave the dogs in the house.
Yeah,
Like,
but
if
no,
they're
the
supposed to
dogs,
be for like protective dogs. I mean, if like I was gonna like,
you
for
did it
instance,
again. You just answered yourself again. You're right. That's why they were outside. Why?
I
Because they're
know, but what I'm
supposed to be
saying is,
protective dogs.
oh,
If they're
but
protective, they're not going to let you kill the people.
well, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Just get the dogs in the house. I mean, I wouldn't have let them outside. I'm like, if I was gonna go, well, I guess I could see that.
I got to go kill the wife and kid. I got to let the dogs out. Like, that's what he's thinking. He's not going to leave them in the house.
Why is he afraid that they're gonna attack him?
You just said they're for protection. Yeah.
I
They're not going to
know,
let
but
people
like,
get knocked around the house.
I mean, I guess you're right in a weird way.
Well, you keep answering yourself.
I know.
All right. So,
But I want to know about the Bibles. Like, why leave Bibles by their bodies? Like, if you're not going to open
Guilt.
up a page, yeah, but if
Guilt.
you're not going to open up a page of, I don't know, some Bible verse, why even bother leaving the Bible?
Guilt. With the Bible is, no offense, one of the things it's built upon is a little bit of guilt. There's guilt in religion in general. There's guilt in, oh my God, I just took their lives. Let me put something religious next to them. That's guilt.
Okay, like I definitely understand what you're saying. It's just like I think that if I was going to do that, and I'm just saying if I was, which I'm not going to, I'd probably just open up the Bible and like find a really cool verse. Like not cool, but you know what I mean.
You don't speak dumb. That's the problem. You're thinking on your level. Like I'm on his level. I'm a little dumber like he is. I probably have not as maybe. Well, I don't. Maybe half the head injuries I've had. So he's not thinking of this stuff. For him to even put a Bible was a lot of thought into it in my head. So never mind opening it to a verse. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know if he was an avid reader. He didn't seem like an avid reader.
So just stuff a Bible over there. Like, what is that going to do? I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but what really is that going to do? It's not going to solve any of his problems.
Are you a practicing an attending Catholic or Christian?
Mm-hmm.
So you see why then he may put a Bible if he's guilty to God.
Okay, but
after you just killed them.
And I understand what you're saying.
I don't think it's going to take time to go, let me look at a verse.
Well, if you're going to kill people with like a span in like a couple of days and then yourself for that matter.
See, you're trying to make rationale of, I see you're trying to rationalize the whole, I'm telling you, I see this as like a shit show that just went downhill and you had somebody steering the ship that was just out of control and making very, very bad decisions.
Okay, my question is though, if his wife was a wrestler, right? I mean, she probably obviously was not as big as he was.
But not even close. That's not even so.
Okay, but
that's what you're going with. If you're gonna go with if his wife was a wrestler, why didn't you know like a move?
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying, because maybe she didn't. I don't know. Maybe
he would destroy. They're two totally. She's like maybe less than 170 pounds, and he's
but
chains of muscle.
Like
that's
muscle.
He's a beast. Chris Benoit was a beast. He was ridiculously strong for his size. Plus, his arms were so big and they were so short. I'm telling you, they called him the T-Rex. They made fun of him all the time. That's how small his arms were. That's where, now, stay with me. He had abnormally short arms. He just did. There was something short about Benoit. Like there was shoulders even. That kid exhibited the same sort of thing with size problems, but just in a different way. You see what I'm trying to say? Like Benoit had his own issues where I'm telling you, pull up a picture. His arms.
I have pulled up a picture.
Short.
It's
the
just,
length.
It's just it doesn't show like how like small his arms were. And then when I was watching this whole documentary thing, it was just a bunch of people talking, and there was nothing going on, and then telling me about like, I don't know, some kind of moves, and I was like, what?
Yeah, you probably zone out when you see the moves. But hold on, let me pull this up. This is Benoit right here. Look now. See on the right, he's holding his arms up. Look how long his arms are. Look where the bicep ends. It's at the top of his head almost. Look at his arms.
I mean,
Put your arm up, Reeni, and
I'm
figure
not
out how
putting my
long
arm
your
up.
arm is.
I know I
Look at
have
this
short
one.
arms, but I would not be a wrestler.
Look at this one. You see this one on the side
Mm-hmm.
with the yellow trunks, the big one?
Yes.
Am I making it bigger? Is that not short arms? Look where his arms are. All right,
Okay.
maybe you don't get it, but they're
I-
huge.
Maybe
I mean, they're huge.
I mean, they look huge, and that's probably what I'm looking at, and not
Of
like
course,
how
yeah,
short his
but of course.
arms are.
Yeah, but like that's to me, that's a form of the same form of what the sun suffered from, but the sun suffered from it in different ways and a lot worse. Like what I'm trying to tell you is, I almost see that as that's part of what was wrong with his son. He had that gene because I'm telling you, his arms are too short. I'm not trying to like. I know it sounds silly, but he just really has ridiculously long, short arms. Like he was just, you notice it after a while. I don't know. You just notice it on a person. Like my arms are way past my waist, like way past my waist, and look where his arms hang. Now, granted, it's maybe because his arms are upon these two gigantic trap muscles that like come from his neck, and they look like they go out for 3 feet before they reach his shoulders.
Okay,
Right?
but have you ever thought it's because he looks so muscular that maybe it looks like that?
No, because I don't look at the bulging muscles or veins, Reenie. I'm looking at where his fingers are, and they wouldn't even look. It doesn't even look like he could reach in his right pocket with his hand. Like
And
he
I
would
understand
struggle
what
to
you're
get his
saying.
hand in his pocket because his hands don't quite. They're not that long. His arms. Imagine if you couldn't get in your pockets. That would be the worst. I'm being serious. Like I check my pockets nonstop. And plus, I like to come home and see what I got in there, like change, a receipt, a treat. Sometimes I'll find candy. Not often. Sometimes. But
Okay, I guess I don't worry about my pockets. I just carry a purse, and I have all the treats, candy, whatever else.
exactly. So what are you talking
in
about?
there.
Of course you don't worry about your pockets. You guys carry around this gigantic thing that has everything in it. It's like a magician's hat where they keep pulling like those colored like just constant. A purse is something I can't even get into. That's like a paranormal its own show. So he was not a very bright man at the time. He was not in the right frame of mind. I think we can agree as far as what was going on around him. He was not in taking anything good. I mean, the reason he was going so hard on the testosterone at that time was obviously he was in a cycle. They cycle on and off usually when especially if they got like an injury or they're out. Because I mean, why was he home on the weekend? Right? Wasn't he hurt?
Well, I don't know exactly if he was hurt. All I know is that like something about food poison, but he didn't have food poison.
No, he claimed he had food poisoning. That's why he
No.
wasn't going to. So when he missed the show, that's when they all went crazy. They all lost their minds because he doesn't miss shows, and he claimed it was food poisoning.
Okay, but wasn't he supposed to be like some kind of, I don't know, some kind of champion or something like that? Like, wasn't that what he was supposed to be wrestling for that weekend?
I think he might have dropped the belt by then. I don't think he was champ at the time, no, but he was champ prior to that. Like, in other words, I'll put it this way. So when he won the championship belt, it was at WrestleMania. And on the same night, the other belt was won by Eddie Guerrero. So it was like a good way for two friends to like finally get their due. Like they finally made it as little guys. Does that make sense? The little guys that made it to the championship. And I remember confetti falling on them. And you know what's worse? His wife and kid ran out. In the WrestleMania moment when he won the belt, I'm pretty sure he's hugging his kid in the ring.
Well, I mean, in moments like that, wouldn't you bring your kids or your family or whatever to like see your accomplishments? I mean,
yeah, but what I'm saying is in moments like that, I wouldn't choke them both out.
Okay, well, I don't think he was thinking about choking them both out while they were like when he was doing all that. I think
maybe, but you're missing what I'm saying. when you think that highly of them to make sure that they're part of your WrestleMania moment where you finally win the championship, then they're already on a pedestal, right? So if you drunkenly kill the mom, where does that leave him mentally? He's thinking, I screwed up. The family's broken forever. His mom's gone. And he takes him out of guilt. Like for all the worst reasons in the world. That's like a classic stupid guy thought. Well, since she's gone, I'll take him out that way. He doesn't grow up and have a miserable life. It's like, fucking idiot. Let him grow up. Let's see what happens. How about you give him a shot? So my theory is you can never explain sometimes why a guy kills his wife or his wife kills her husband, because it could be, years of fights. Could have been a fight that night. There could have been infidelity. We don't know. But once it happens, why is the kid killed? The only thing I can think of, and the Bibles are what led me to that complete thought, was guilt. Seriously, guilt. Glad you brought up the Bibles, because that's one of the things that made me go, all right, that adds up with guilt. I think of religion when I think of guilt. No offense to people that are religious.
I mean, I definitely understand what you're saying. I just find it odd. I'm not saying that he didn't kill him, because I mean, obviously they're claiming proofs in the pudding here, but I'm having a really hard time. How can I put this? Like, I really just am having a hard time. I don't want to say accepting it, because I mean, it's done and over with now, but
no,
I just,
you know what you're having a hard time with? I can tell you what you're having a hard time with. You want to know? I'll tell you.
Tell me.
You're used to dealing with these diabolical serial killers and all their crazy methods and reasonings, and why they left this doll head there. What did it mean? Why they did this? And then why would the 2 pass of blood here? And I don't know. Why did they use butter to kill that guy? You're like, all this stuff. And you're thinking, you're looking through numbers. Benoit was just, you got to think, you got to bring it down.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I understand that drugs play a role and stuff.
But it's also purely guy stuff. That's guy stuff. That whole, like, I can't let the kid leave because I killed his mother. Like, only a really stupid guy would think that. How many how many wives killed the dad and then kill the kid?
Not anything that I can think of off the top of my head, but we could go into the topic of women killing their kids.
Well, they would, though. But what I'm saying is, if they're going to do it, they would probably do it in a nice big swoop. Would they wait? Would they wait over the weekend like that? That's a dumb guy.
I don't think. No, there'd be no way that a woman, in my opinion, would wait all weekend and be like, "Well, I'm going to be sitting with dead bodies in my house."
It's the same reaction and intelligence of like the dead hooker at a bachelor party type scenario. Like they're like, "What do we do?" And it's like, "What do you mean? What do you do? You just call the police, right?" No. They got to figure out what they can do with the body. Next thing happens, someone else dies, and now you got a whole movie. That's how movies start. With him, I think he just had a freak out with the wife. It was going down a bad road anyways. And honestly, like, some people say, like, now's not a good time. That was literally not a good time for him to be in any kind of conversation, argument, or...
But why not just be like a normal person and just be like, oh, you know what? I'm having a really bad time, so I'm just going to like walk away for a little bit.
Good question, Reenie. Would you dive off the top ropes and drop a headbutt as your finishing move?
No, absolutely not.
So you just answered your question. That's why he would do that, because he also would dive off the top ropes and use his head as a finishing move. So you don't agree with that either. So you don't understand this guy at all.
No. See? I'm trying. I'm really trying. But I guess what I'm having the issue is why wait like 3 days, like in the span of like just a couple days, and like why randomly send text messages to people? That to me is mind boggling. And that's what I can't wrap my head around. Like, why are you going to randomly send text messages to people?
So are you having a hard time with the idea of how maybe like a stupid mind might work? And I'm not trying to say he's stupid, but he was. At that time, he was. At that moment, there was no brain cells working correctly. So you have a hard time just like you're actually more puzzled by something that's more dumb and just spontaneously dumb. You want it to be planned out meticulously and like be a reason why all these people would, you know what I mean? Like, is that what it is?
I don't technically know, to be honest with you. I find it just bizarre.
Yeah, I think it's because one, the wrestling confuses you and you don't like it.
Okay, it's
So you
not that
just
I don't like it. It's just something about jumping off things onto somebody else. Like I didn't really understand. I was like, is there springs underneath there or is those tumbling mats?
no, it's rubber. It's rubber, but it has a give to it, obviously. But it hurts if you ever put your back on the canvas. It hurts.
But here's the thing: just because I don't like wrestling, okay, and I've never watched it a day in my life until I had to watch this documentary or whatnot, doesn't mean that this case is like dumb or anything like that. I think I'm just trying to wrap my head around why somebody, instead of just getting some help, right? Why take out the whole family?
So, all right. So why not get help? All right, you're a wrestler. Your whole gimmick, your whole life is you're the toughest little guy in the business. That you grind through everything. That nothing stops you. He should have got help right after Eddie died, because if you watch the interviews of him after that, because they had other people on the thing crying about Eddie, and then you saw him, and there's a difference from someone crying and a difference from someone that just dropped.
Yeah, but he was on antidepressants anyways.
That's not going to help that.
You don't technically know that.
And mix those. And what's an antidepressant? Because do you know what it is? It's exactly what he gave the kid. That's the same thing.
Xanax.
Xanax is an antidepressant. It's an anxiety medication.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know much about Xanax, to be honest with you.
It's an anxiety medication. It's like Valium. You didn't know that? Xanax is Valium, basically?
No, technically I don't. I've never been
I'll
on.
keep you up on the drugs. You just let me know which type. We can talk about that new croc one. That's crazy. It's turning people into like their skin into like lizards. And I was thinking, if you knew a drug was going to eventually, after you took it once, was eventually going to turn you somewhat into like a lizard with like lizard skin, and parts of your body would fall off and die, how good must that drug be? Like, how good is that drug that they keep doing? These people do it, and they like don't do this drug. Don't try it. It's going to turn your skin like a lizard's. And
Okay,
then,
but is that like a side effect of just certain like?
well, that's croc.
certain-
Yeah, croc does that.
Okay, well, I don't know.
No, you
So-
don't keep up on the new drugs. That's your problem. I mean,
I don't keep up with the new drugs.
No, there's all kinds of new synthetic drugs coming over from all around the world, and they're building stuff up, man, making it good. They're making it good for them. Like they put all kinds of weird stuff, like bath salts. Like they're just experimenting now with stuff. And plus, on the black web, you can order all these weird synthetic things. Like, I don't know why you would, because again, it's got to be the best drug in the world to turn people, if people take it and then turn into a lizard. So back to him, antidepressant could be Xanax, because that's
But
again,
we don't. I mean, I don't know what he
I'm
was
just
on.
saying, because when they say someone's on antidepressants, that's like a weird, like I don't know, it's like a catch line, because
Okay,
they could go from Xanax all the way to like a psychotic thing that the schizophrenics have to take so they don't wake up in the morning and talk to the wall.
but if you're gonna start mixing that with alcohol and whatever else you're doing,
But they always do that, dude. Wrestlers have always mixed painkillers, depressants, and booze. Like, that's literally what they talk about in every documentary. That's all they did was painkillers, booze. They think like that all the time. They don't think straight, dude. He dies from the top rope and does a headbutt. Like, if you're asking, why would he mix alcohol with Xanax? Well, why did he kill his family? Why did he dive in with headbutts? Like, why are his arms too short? Like,
okay, I didn't come up with his arms.
Yeah, you did. You said that first. You did.
No, I didn't. You're the one that came up with his arm situation.
I didn't come up with it. It's the truth. I just said it. But okay. I thought, what's your end result thought on this? Like, in other words, what do you think happened? If you had they put a gun to your head, said, what happened? What do you think happened? What's your final story?
I believe, and this is just what I believe in, it's just my opinion.
Okay.
That somebody else killed him.
All right.
I don't think he really actually did it.
So how did they get him unconscious or able to not fight back where there's any bruises, or because that's the thing I'm talking about. There's no really, other than that blood on the back of her head, there were no struggle marks on anybody. And then he killed himself by wrapping his neck around the thing. And if you pull the pin and the weights drop, it pulls your neck up and kills you. You can do that.
Maybe he had a friend over.
And the friend decided he was going to kill the family over a weekend because he was going to text people about it, about the dogs, all this stuff, scattered all the stuff around.
I know logically this doesn't make sense to you, but in my own crazy mind, it just would make more sense.
But of course, because you don't want to believe the truth. No one would going to give the kid Xanax and kill him the next day. That's messy. Like, who would do that? You go in, you whack, 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 you leave. You do that. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay, then who staged the knife underneath that kid's bed? That kid? Doubt it. I don't think he was a knife and like put it underneath his bed.
All right. So what if that was plan B? What if he thought about doing that and then decided, no, I'm not going to do it that way? Because
he thought it was too messy?
Yes. Because maybe he thought that was wrong. Like, he's not thinking straight. So for there to be another weapon on the where he killed somebody, yeah, all right. Why'd he put the knife there? He might, because maybe he wanted to use it. He's already killing the kid. Right?
Maybe he did intentionally mean to kill him. Maybe the Xanax took him out.
And the Bibles. Was there a Bible near him?
No.
Thank you. Why not?
You're gonna really make I don't know if he did kill himself. If he
didn't think he deserved to put a Bible near himself.
No,
did he?
Probably not. No.
Guilt, right? That's guilt.
Yeah, but he also didn't leave a suicide note. Not all suicides leave suicide notes. I know this.
Well, you know what it is? I don't mean to say it like this, but his note was the family. Like, he left a note. He left the wife dead on a Friday, the kid dead on a Saturday. It's easy to figure out. You come in, dead, suicide. What the fuck? Like,
I mean, I definitely understand what you're saying. I mean, yes, all the signs point to him. I get that.
You're really just too smart for this case. This would be one of those situations where I'm like, Sarge, you got to get her off. Why? We found the body. We found the murder weapon. We found the guy. Guy said he did it. She doesn't believe him. She's walking around asking everybody else. Like, that's what you're doing. Like, I look at it this way. Think about the most emotional state you've ever been in, right? Where you're like ready to kill somebody. And then throw a bunch of booze, drugs. You lost somebody that was like the closest person in the world to you. Everyone's going to leave you. You're losing your mind. So you're thinking about like, what am I going to do? Like in his head, he was thinking, where do I go? What do I do next? Like, I'm breaking down. Everything's not making sense. Like, I'd rather go see Eddie. And then he murders his wife.
Okay.
To me, that's the only way that he would ever murder his kid is he had to be at a point where everything else seemed like life was over in general. Mm-hmm. Because again, a day later makes less sense than if he killed the kid immediately. Because
why not just do it all at one crack?
What guy is going to think about it? What guy would ever do that? Like, literally give the kid another day and think it over. Like, that's.
Maybe he did give him another day to think it over.
I think he just let him sleep through the night. And
so
again,
you think that he drugged him and then just let him sleep through the night and was like, okay, screw it. So that's the end of it.
Yeah, I think cross-faced. I'm not joking when I say that. I think he did do the cross-face because of the way the kid died, the asphyxiation, and then it was just a pillow with the kid on drugs. But it split the wrestling world down the middle. That's what the biggest thing of this was, because you don't know how many people all said the same thing. Like, I'll use one example. Stone Cold Steve Austin said, when I knew Chris, he was one of the greatest guys I knew. He was actually a really good family man. He was one of the greatest wrestlers in the ring. He was this, he was that. But no, he should never be in the Hall of Fame, because what he did that day, the person from that day on is not the Chris I knew. And whoever that guy is, whoever that person is, I have disgust for him. So like all these people that were like really good friends with him, that work with him, that knew him, it's like knowing somebody so good and then they do something so out of character that you got to go, I liked him. He was always nice to me. Like whenever someone starts doing that kind of shit, they know that it's like they don't buy it. Well, he was always nice to me. No, he always said hi to me. I was always used to get my paper. Like he lost it. He snapped, and I don't know. I think that's one of those guy rage things. And you know what? They try to fight the whole steroid thing, saying that steroids. Steroids is definitely one of those things that the news just sticks out there and acts like it's this wonder drug that just changes everybody. But 10 times your testosterone level will definitely put you in a rage. Not definitely. With the right ingredients, could lead to a boiling rage. Now, I can see that. Like, if this ended with the wife, I think we'd be in agreement. He got drunk, something happened. He was just out of his mind, depressed. Kill the wife. Wait a day, kill the kid, wait longer. I think he sent text messages out after the kid died, right? And then kill yourself?
I think that's okay, but why not just like keep your kid at like a friend's house or something? And then, not saying that he should have killed his wife, okay? I'm just saying, like, why not?
Because I don't think he was on a Friday night thinking, hey, Chavo, could you watch the kid gonna kill the wife this weekend?
I don't think that's like a phone call that anybody's gonna take and we're like, okay, I'll be right there.
No, it's weird. You know what's funny? It's like you think about it, some guys might be like, all right, I'll come pick the kid up. Make sure you get it done.
No.
Like with the kid, it's just so different. Like, again, in the Bibles, dude, if you don't see those as guilt and remorse, like what else could they be? That was a man breaking down. That whole night, if you just slowly go through it, is a guy making a bad decision, something bad happening, making a worse decision, gets worse. And it's just, and then his text messages were like, seemed like he didn't know what a phone was used for. Like he didn't understand the whole text messaging to begin with, because he sent very incoherent messages, like you said, about the dogs and where they were and this stuff. But he never answered the phone when anyone called him after he missed the last date. And I don't think he ever responded to their texts. I think he just sent out those ones about where the dog.
Yeah, but that's what I just don't understand. Like, why send out? I mean, I definitely understand the whole address thing, but
well, you explained that.
I know, but it's so bizarre.
The whole thing is truly bizarre, and it was so brutal, in my opinion, that it stood out so much. And because it was a wrestler, and because CTE was gaining and has gained traction, and because the whole steroid fear is out there, this is one of those ones where you could literally like just throw all the different issues and put them on him and claim that was kind of the reason. And a lot of people piled on this because of how brutal it was, how sensational it was as far as like all the crazy stuff that happened, and then all the reasons why they could claim it happened. Because there's really like a lot of reasons why people claim this happened, where I think it's just a mixture of everything and a really bad friggin' decision goes south.
So what you're saying is like basically all this combination of all of his craziness, and then he's like, oh, oops, now I got to continue this.
I don't know. I think it's one of those things that's like starts off crazy
and then just ends crazy.
And it's done by somebody with a lot of guilt, a lot of sorrow, a lot of wishing he was dead, a lot of thinking about being dead, a lot about like just in the wrong place mentally. And then with the realization that your wife's dead and you're in the house and the kid's home and what did I do? That's the only reason I can see that with the Bibles, like, because it's like guilt and it's just a way of saying.
Well, how do you know the Bibles weren't already in the room?
I heard they were placed near them.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to.
There probably were Bibles in every room of this guy's house because he used to dive off the head, off the.
You're like, not
ropes,
go
and use his head to headbutt people. All right, I'm good. What do you want to say to wrap up the Chris Benoit? You hate wrestling.
I didn't say that I hated wrestling. I said I didn't understand it.
No, I thought you said you hated it.
I didn't say I hated it.
That's what I heard.
Okay, maybe I hate it a little bit. Okay,
what are you gonna say to wrap up there, wrestler hater?
Anyways, I am gonna be gone the next 2 weeks. Going on vacation. Anyways, you can find all of your really cool podcasts at legitpodcast.com.
That's true. What would you like to anything you would like to advertise or promote? Aren't you singing soon? Don't you have a concert?
I'm singing.
Aren't you? That's what you said, right?
No.
Oh, my bad.
Where would I go to? Like, honestly, a concert? Honestly, no. I wish I
I
was
thought
going to a concert.
I thought I read or I thought you told me that you were doing some sort of like pop concert. My bad. I don't know.
Pop concerts?
Yeah, you're a
Do
pop
I look
singer.
like a pop? Yeah, right.
You're not?
No, not at all.
Busting your chops, Reenie. What would you like to say to wrap up? Anything though? You don't want to promote nothing? No songs, no books, no movies?
Movies?
Some
Oh,
people got movies.
no, I'm not going to promote any movies. I know
Not
you
yet.
got. I know you got something going on this weekend, so you
Yes,
might
I
as well
do.
say.
Block Island Ghost Tours and legitpodcast.com. We're putting together legit paranormal parties. This is the first one with Tim Weisberg. It's going to be one night of drinking, getting to know Tim, hearing some stories. The next day is going to be full of events. Sunday's more beach, breakfast with Tim. And then I realized, I was saying on the last show, that I have to go down there and I have to party, meaning that I have to figure out a way to keep like a mild buzz, not all day, like not when I'm sleeping, but for the remainder of it. You know what I mean? So that I'm like, in that party attitude. So I got to figure that all out. I don't know how that's going to work out, but all right, I'm going to wrap it up, Reenie, and I'm going to do it like this. For Allegedly Reenie, it is me, Mike Larry King, Mike L. This was her show, Into the Legit Darkness. Maybe we'll show like a repeat next week. We'll put you in like syndication, right? Repeats? No?
Yeah, you have to for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll do repeats. And then tomorrow night we have, oh, Jesus, I'm going to forget. Oh, Legit Paranormal Clips at 8. And something else. I'm gaffing on everybody tonight.
Oh. I was watching Gerald's game. Y'all should watch it.
No.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. You were on the Legit Fearflix. No.
Yes. Watch it.
So let me ask you this. How bad was the whole like not being able to get out of the handcuffs? Did they make it so that they made it look like really painful? Or because like that's boring if it's not painful. Like what I'm saying is if they just focused on that for the whole movie.
Yeah, basically, I just don't really want to give it away, but I just would have done something so differently. But it looked painful. It looked painful.
I already called what it was. I said he was going to have to chew his arm off or one of his pull. And apparently I'm pretty close. So again, see, when you think dumb, you kind of get it right there. All right, Reenie, I'm going to see if this goes out in 5 seconds. Let's go.